Hey, welcome to the Impact Combo Hour. We're here.
Yes.
We're live.
Once again.
We have some crazy fun things for today. We have Kahoot. If you've noticed on the bottom of the screen, there is a tag that's code. So we're going to wait a bit, though, to make sure everyone gets here, because I know some people show up a little later. So go ahead, pull it up on your phone. Get Kahoot ready, get the game ready, and we'll run it in just a little bit. Keep in mind there is a bit of a delay between what you see on YouTube and what you see on your phone, but don't worry, we've tried to account for that. Everything should work fine. Hopefully it works fine. I'm going to open up YouTube on my phone to see if there's any comments or questions. Oh, Becky's got it. Never mind. Becky is going to see. So if you guys have any questions about Kahoot or have any problems with it, let Becky know. Comment in the YouTube comments or send Becky a message, whichever you prefer. I'm a bit congested.
That's terrible. I feel you.
Anyway.
Don't drown.
Anyway, so we're going to play some Kahoot. That should be fun. Got some goofy, fun questions for you, as well as some bit of pop quiz-esque questions. So
those are just fun.
We're going to challenge you. Should be fun. Other news, this Saturday, we're going to have another Zoom meeting, like we did about a month ago, I think now. The live stream's offline?
It's live on OBS.
Let me check on my phone. Uh-oh. It was having...
After these messages, we'll be right back.
It's probably weird if anyone's seeing this on the live stream. It looks like it's working. Okay. Sorry if anyone saw that. It looked like the live stream was down, but it looks like it was just a error. We're sorry. Next week, or pretty soon here, I won't guarantee next week, but the church for live streaming, which might have be more effective. Hopefully. Might have a stronger connection there. We'll see how things work. Yeah. But we will be moving there eventually. So we're slowly moving towards things going back to normal. Slowly.
Thank goodness.
Who knows how long that... Oh, yes, yes. So when you go on Kahoot, make sure that your name is your name. Otherwise, we can't tell who you are. And so we're not going to really be invested in what your opinions are or anything.
Wow.
Oh, we don't know who it is. It's like it could be a little...
We don't know who you are.
It could be a rat living under the sink. We don't know.
I want to know what he thinks about
the rat living under the sink.
Just like rat live under sink. That's his cool. That's his tag.
Wow.
Holly's thoughts.
Holly's thoughts. No, put your name. You can add something else silly after that if you want.
Stop taking my rock, Jordan.
Give me my rock. Holly loves to chew on rocks, and we don't like it. But anyways, yes, put your actual name. Just your first name. You don't need your full name. Just your first name. If we have your first name in the Kahoot, that's great. So make sure you do that. So if you accidentally added in another name, leave, come back with your actual name.
Yes.
Okay, but yes, this Saturday, we're going to have a Zoom meeting. We'll post information about that either Thursday or Friday, just to keep you in the loop of how that's going to work. If Zoom, should we just stick to it being Zoom, or should we make it Google Hangouts? Becky, what do you think? Oh, keep having streaming. Okay, so you know what? Now that I've thought about it, I know I'm making everything confusing. Sorry, I need to get on focus.
A little bit.
Okay, I'm getting focused again. Okay, we'll make it a Google Hangout, which is actually easier to use than Zoom. Eliminating it first, we're gonna actually make it a Google Hangout, and the only reason for that is last time we had a free trial, our free trial is up with Zoom, and after trying out Google Hangouts, it actually works just as well as Zoom does, if not better. So we're gonna try that instead. You don't need to download an app or anything. It just literally runs through Google. Okay. So I mean, it's easy, guys. So don't worry about it. Basically, what we'll do is we'll send you a link. If you want to be involved in it, we'll post on Facebook or something about it, and then you just message us and say like, oh, I want to be a part of that. We'll send you the link, and you just click that, and it just takes you straight to it. I tried it out. It was super easy. I didn't have to add my email. I didn't have to send my email to anyone like we did with Zoom. It just literally connected right away, and there it was. So we'll try that out and see how that works instead. So we're just experimenting. Zoom was nice, but I personally kind of had some problems with Zoom when I ran it last time. So that's why I know I shouldn't have changed my mind mid-sentence.
Yes.
I made things more confusing. But again, we're just going to use Google Hangouts. We'll do that this Saturday at 10 a.m., I think. Again, we'll post an official time tomorrow.
Things change.
We'll just confirm.
You're too slow.
We'll post an official time tomorrow. Yes. And the reason why that's kind of all this is kind of up in the air is my daughter Madeline, she acted like she had a seizure yesterday, kind of scared us. We're not sure if it was a seizure or not. We don't really know, and the doctors didn't really know either. She's fine now. It was very short-lived. She was back to her happy self, laughing and giggling, and everything was fine. So there's no like permanent damage or anything, but she was just acting very strange, and so we might be going very soon to go see a specialist in Spokane just to check and make sure everything's okay. She's gonna have a couple of tests run on her just to make sure it's not epilepsy or something like that. Jordan knows the sufferings of epilepsy,
I do.
and so but we're just gonna check and see. So she's okay right now, but just keep Madeline in prayer. Just keep praying for her. Pray that she'll be okay, that all the tests will come back okay and everything. And so yeah, we're gonna go get that all checked out, and we don't know when that's gonna happen, when we'll hear about it. I think won't be till next week, but just in case, right? So everything's up in the air. We'll post tomorrow about the Google Hangouts and all that. We'll let you know the exact time on Saturday. It will be Saturday. We'll let you know the exact time. If you have any opinions on when you'd like to meet up for that, message us and let us know, and we'll get back. And that'll kind of help us determine what would be the best time. So, okay, I've gone on that long enough, and we've talked about Google Hangouts.
You're too slow.
So that's going to happen this Saturday. We'll post officially about it tomorrow. That's enough on that. Moving on. Let me think. Maybe I should wait.
You're too slow.
Dead air.
Sorry.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We're having some things going on.
Can't have dead air like this there.
I know.
You just dropped everybody. What's going on?
Okay. Sorry.
We lost time for a second.
Sorry, you lost me for a second. Anyway.
Wow.
There's a lot going on, okay?
Wow.
I'm sorry. With the whole Madeline thing, and Becky's on the phone right now, so I'm worrying about what's going on. So, forgive that. Let's get back on focus.
Yes.
I'm sorry for that sudden dead air. That was awkward and uncomfortable. Let's get back to business. Making sure seeing if there's anything going on. Zach, is there a way you can check the Kahoot feed? Go ahead and bring up the Kahoot screen. We'll go ahead and get ready to start Kahoot. So guys, we're getting ready to start it up. So if you haven't jumped in yet, you still have a little bit of time. We're not going to start just yet, but we're transitioning towards playing Kahoot.
There.
So go ahead and bring up that screen. Yeah. Well, yeah. I need some coffee.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Is it up? Okay. Who's is it? How many do we have on yet? Oh, right now. 2 players?
Chloe and Becky are my wife.
Okay. So we'll wait. We'll wait a little longer
Good names.
for some people, just to be safe. Because so far it's only Chloe.
Ghost Ride the Wind.
Okay. So while we're waiting, I might as well just go ahead and announce today's topic. You don't have to worry about playing the splash card because things are kind of crazy right now. Today's topic, we're talking about Gabby Gideon. A man who was both a coward and a skeptic. We're going to talk about what we can learn from Gideon. We are continuing in our series, I Debated Myself. So, we're going to talk about Gideon, see what we can learn from his story. Yeah, man, we're off to a rough start today.
You're all over the place.
I am all over the place.
Nice on.
It's because I'm turning old internally.
It's not possible.
I'm old inside.
Yes.
My insides are old.
It's like your insides
And it's
take
starting-
over your body.
it's
'cause
starting to
you're
turn my-
way younger than me.
It's only a year or 2 years.
That's young. Yeah, that's
2 years
young
younger
enough.
than
Yeah,
young
that's
enough.
young enough.
My hairs are turning grayer faster than yours, though.
I rip them out.
Look at all these gray hairs. You rub them out.
I ripped them out.
They said I rubbed them.
And
It
also,
just-
I just don't have them.
I have a lot of gray hairs,
Mine
but I don't
fall
care.
out. See, I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's true. I do have darker hair than you, though, and usually darker hair goes gray faster. But actually, I don't care. I want my hair to go gray. I embrace the gray hair. I think it will look cool. I hope. I hope it doesn't. I hope I don't have.
He'll just get one little weird patch. And
My
that's it. Like,
grandpa had eyes in the back of his head, as in all of his hair turned gray except 2 dark black patches that, right in the
fun.
back of his head, that looked like eyes. It was kind of weird and creepy. So he literally looked like he had eyes in the back of his head because he just had these 2 big black circles of just his hair just stayed black there while the rest turned gray. So I hope that doesn't happen to me. If all my hair turns gray, it'll be nice. I'll welcome it. I won't dye my hair. But if it gets like gray and patchy in weird places, I might have to give in and dye
Yeah,
my
see,
hair.
I just have one.
That'd be the only reason
I just
don't
get these
do
like
it.
ice cold white one strand.
Just one?
And they're like super long. I'm just like, well, there's
I have a long
well,
one right
there's
here.
no point in keeping
Yeah.
this. Like,
I have like a really long one right here, and it just makes like this.
yes. Bravo, bravo.
Okay, do we have any others joining in yet, Zach? Wow, we need at least one more. Yeah, where's Cameron? Cameron, where are you?
Where are you, Cameron?
Where are you, Cameron? Where are you?
I know life is.
Chloe can't play by herself. She needs at least one
Yes.
competitor. Chloe, we can't let that happen. We
Yeah, if
have
it's
to
only Chloe,
find.
then you just let her have the prize.
I guess so. We gotta find someone else. I'll only wait so much longer though. We've already waited. I'll wait 3 more minutes. How about that? We'll wait till 6:20.
Okay.
And if still no one's on, then so be it.
Yes.
It'll just be Chloe's personal challenge.
Yes.
You'll be the gladiator, Chloe. Thrown in. Okay. This is
A 3-minute run up, Zach. Go. Is that good coffee?
This is good coffee. This is good coffee. I am on board with this coffee. It's the only brand I buy. I prefer the San Francisco French Roast is what it's called. I think it's called San Francisco Bay. I think it's a Costco brand or something like that. Good coffee. Good coffee. It's my favorite. So we always order it off Amazon.
Watching the thing.
What?
It's just
There's 3 people watching,
There's
but
3
only
people
one person
watching.
playing.
Well, I'm one of those people, and Becky might be one of those people. So, wow.
There's only
Zach's
one.
watching.
There's only
not even there. It's just us 3.
there's
Chloe
only,
finally left. She's like, I've had enough of this. Nothing's happening.
so there's really nobody here.
Maybe not.
4.
4? Cameron's here. Oh, he doesn't. Cameron, you have to play. Chloe can't play by herself. Cameron, you have to play.
Cameron, we made something for you.
But Cameron.
Smash Bros?
Oh, yeah, put that up full screen at Zach. Okay. Full screen Cameron's meme.
Smash Bros? Smash Bros? Smash Bros?
Are you sure about
Is
that?
competing against Chloe. Okay, so I think we've waited long enough. It's 6:20. Let's start this game up. All right, Zach, fire up the game.
Fire.
Play some tunes.
Fire.
Because everyone knows that. Hands up, guys. Chloe's here. What fun No, not you. Not clapping. So far, this is a great We're a mess. I'm a mess. Everything's a mess. But you know what? It's all good. Sometimes the
wagon train falls off the rails.
Sometimes the wagon.
Wow.
Sometimes
Don't question it.
Sometimes it's just how the cookie crumbles. Sometimes the
Wow.
bounce. Sometimes your tires go flat on a pass because you ran over a sharp piece of metal, and then you had to roll all the way down the mountain with a flat tire that tore up your wheel and ruined it. Sometimes that happens.
It sounds like a... Well, you didn't do it.
Sometimes it's the night before your wedding, and you run into your father-in-law to be's truck and knock out a light.
They can also call in my phone.
Oh, call in?
Have them do that instead.
Call in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Call my phone.
Okay, guys, call
And the first one that comes through.
video show. Okay.
Because then people who don't have chat can
Okay, if you don't have chat, what? I don't know what to say anymore. I'm just gonna dump this coffee all over
It says
myself.
you can't hear chat, the music is so loud.
What?
There's no music.
There shouldn't be music anymore. The music's off now. I don't know why the music shouldn't have been loud, but I'm sorry.
Can I delete a comment once I put it?
Yeah. I think so. Okay.
Yeah, I can.
The music's gone now. I don't know why the music was so loud. We tried to turn down. We'll try to run it differently next week to make things simpler.
Did I say
That's
there's
what
a
we'll do. What?
$50 Amazon card on the line?
Yeah, that is true. There's a $50 Amazon card on the line.
Colin.
Okay, so during these questions, call in your answers to Becky. Call Becky, not me, because I won't answer.
My number's posted in the chat. And I'm gonna delete it.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Is this Melanie? What? I don't want to. I just got to. What? Well, it showed up in the middle of my phone. What if I'm trying to watch this.
Wow.
All right. First to call in to this episode of Coast to Coast wins that. Read the question and the answers, and you just have to pay close attention and call in to Becky. Whoever calls her first wins that round. A $50 Amazon gift card is on the line. Okay? Okay. All right, dude. All right. Let's get going. Kahoot, question number 1. What funny word has Pastor Ty been using for this sermon series? A, serrated. B, jabated. C, frustrated. Or D, gustrated? Call in if you know the answer. Call Becky. Give her a ring. Put a ring on it. If you liked it, then you should have put a ring on it. Question number Should I move on to the next one or just wait? Should I wait for a minute? Have some dead space? Just awkward silence again?
Awkward.
Wow.
Here's the question one more time. What funny word has Pastor Ty been using for this sermon series? A, serrated. B, debated. C, frustrated. Or D, gustrated. Bump, 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 ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Will anyone call? I don't know. Hopefully. You better call. I'm only going to wait so long. This episode is sponsored by Burger King.
Wow.
What a hamburger. This hamburger tastes oddly like coffee.
I think everybody just pieced out on the whole game.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well. So Chloe's adjusting her setup because she thinks her computer
Calculating.
something. This will work better for her.
Remember, streams don't work good on
I guess not.
They never have.
Should we use a different? What? You have a call?
Hello? What's up? What's the answer? Debated.
Correct.
Yay!
Who is it?
Chloe.
Chloe wins this round.
No, I must hang up. You can call back again.
Okay, we're only gonna do some. What?
Yes.
Huh?
Okay.
We're waiting.
Got it.
Chloe's on the phone.
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna have another player.
Okay.
So she says, wait a second.
Wait a second. I waited a second. Second's over. I'm starting the next question.
Wow.
So, this originally has 20 questions, by the way. We're not going to do all 20.
Yeah.
We'll save them. We'll save them for later. We'll just save them for later. Things haven't worked out quite the way we'd hoped. In general. Huh? This is quality streaming. We're professionals.
Yes. We're professionals.
We're professionals.
I think what you should do is ask a question and then start your message. And
Okay.
then when there's a normal break in your message, stop. Ask another
Okay.
question.
I
And
will.
then if I get a call in the middle, I'll interrupt.
That sounds smart.
We'll try that. That might be a good idea. It might not work at all. I don't know. There's only one way to find out, and it's to do it. So, grab hold of your favorite skateboard and prepare to...
Why are we here? We're to suffer.
Wow, Becky.
You're too slow.
So harsh. Okay,
You're too slow.
we're going to move forward. Here's your next question, and then I'm just going to get started on... We're just going to have our message.
I know what the problem is.
What?
We've been doing so well that we had to have a day.
I don't know. I feel like every
You're
season
too slow.
No, we've been doing so good.
we finally got it
Last
figured out.
Wednesday was great. The other Wednesday great.
This is where everything crashed and burned.
Mushroom cloud. People dead everywhere.
I blame Kahoot.
Sorry.
It's Kahoot's fault. It's a conspiracy.
I blame everybody social distancing and using the internet at the same time, causing it to lag.
Yeah.
That's
It's your
true.
fault, Carlita. Get off the internet. It's your fault, Jose. Get off the internet. It's your fault, Thumbelina. All right.
Always ready.
Ask the question and then
What would you like to do more of together during...
not a question.
Okay, excuse...
poll.
I'm not...
Question.
Smash Bros.
Question time. Question.
Fine. I'm moving on.
I have the answer.
We're moving on.
Smash
We're moving
Bros.
on. Okay, here you go. Here's your question. You ready for the question? Becky, do you have any objections?
Is it an actual question?
Yes.
It's a poll.
What was Sarah's solution to God's promise to Abraham? Question number 2. What was Sarah's solution to God's promise to Abraham? A. Pour essential oils on her belly to help her get pregnant. B. Steal the neighbor's children. C. Use her servant girl as a surrogate, or D, climb the tallest mountain and anoint her belly. One more time. What was Sarah's solution to God's promise to Abraham? A, pour essential oils on her belly to help her get pregnant. B, steal the neighbor's children, servant girl as a surrogate. Or D, climb the tallest mountain and anoint her belly. Call Becky if you have the answer. So, today we're talking about Gabby Gideon. Had a habit of running his mouth. Yes.
Wow.
I think you're the Gabby one today, Becky. Boisterous Becky. Gideon had a habit of running his mouth.
Wait, our guy just said something.
You didn't give me no text things for this one.
There is no text.
This is Matt Moses stuff.
What? What?
For the Gideon, it's just the
Ignore, just ignore it. It's fine. It's fine. Just move on.
We're like garbage Gideon, am I right?
Oh. I don't know what's happening anymore.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I miss you all.
Should we just quit while we're...
I miss and love you all.
It's only gonna get worse. I don't know if you can hear it.
Do you have the answer?
Oh.
Yes. Correct.
What's correct?
Who is it? Chloe!
Call back again.
Come back again.
We have one person in the chat right
She
now.
said this is fun.
Okay.
This is fun.
I'm glad you're having
Yeah.
fun.
We have one.
Chloe.
Welcome to the madhouse, Chloe.
At the end of this, it's just us and Chloe. At least all of us had a good time.
We lost everybody. It's just us.
It's just us, everyone's left.
Us and Chloe.
This is one viewer.
Hi, Chloe.
Cameron
Hi.
I think Chloe's trying to reload it though on a different thing she said.
That's funny.
Do the famous Chloe wave time. Do it. Hi, Chloe.
It's just us.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh boy.
I'm glad people pieced out before they got real stupid.
Oh boy.
You're on.
Okay.
Okay.
This isn't gonna work. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this isn't gonna work.
What do you want to do then? Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Yeah.
What? What?
She said I could hear you dying.
I could hear you dying. You could hear her. She. Okay. The question and message thing is not gonna work.
you wanna do
We
that
can't go
time?
hand in hand.
Money
We
turns
tried.
to Peekaboo.
This is the episode where we experimented and
And lost control.
and
very
destroyed the
quickly.
lab.
Let's go back to trying different foods and see.
We accidentally Yes.
Yeah, where's my spinach-filled Twinkie?
That seemed to work.
We had a weird food, a message, and we went home. It worked.
It was simple. It was straightforward. Why did we break perfection?
See, like I said, we're going good. Everything was going great, and then Kahoot.
And then Kahoot.
We've been Kahooted.
It does sound like Kahoot does sound like a phrase that would apply to like everything just going wrong.
Yes. We'll call this Kahooted.
Kahooted.
The Kahooted episode.
Kahoot.
Well, I'm gonna
Kahooted.
give Chloe a smaller gift card.
Okay. Just for participating.
The brownie points.
Cameron tried though. Cameron tried.
Yes.
He bailed quicker, but he did try.
I'll give him a lure.
Excuse me, it wasn't Cameron. It wasn't Cameron. I keep forgetting. It wasn't Cameron. It was not Cameron. Okay.
Not Cameron.
Okay.
Are you still
Okay.
gonna try?
No, we're
Okay.
done. This
What are
is
we
not
gonna
working. I would love to keep this game going, but I can't keep waiting all that time, and I can't just keep transitioning between the questions and the message. It's just not gonna work.
Okay, so what are we doing now?
So what are we doing now?
What time is it?
Monitor the chat.
It's 6:40. What?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm having Zach monitor chat so I can go back.
Okay.
No worries, I'm here.
Chloe just said there's nobody else at her house, so she's just laughing into silence. Well, restricted.
So you're just laughing yourself into a coma there, Chloe? Just
Becky's doing the same thing.
they're gonna come find you and you're just gonna be passed out on the floor. Laughing like Muttley.
If you don't know who Muttley is, don't worry. There's a new Scooby movie out called Scoob. It's
There you
actually
go.
pretty good. It's
There
not
you
bad.
go.
It is $20 to watch or $25. It's a good movie though. A couple of like adult jokes, I guess, but I mean they weren't that bad. Let us.
We're making a sandwich? Sorry. I'm so sorry. Going with the theme. You're gonna leave
Nice
behind
on.
you? I can't do this anymore.
I can't even leave quickly. I was gonna make a joke about leaving. It takes so long to scooch out. I couldn't do
You're
it.
skirting away.
Okay. All right. So let's just. We're just going to do our best to redeem the end of this.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and at the beginning of this live stream, I'm gonna insert a timestamp that just says "cut to this point." if
Cut
you
to
want
this point so we can
If
be
you want to
serious
skip
time.
the insanity
Serious time.
and just the episode breaking down, the messages right here, or maybe I can trim the video finally. I don't know.
Okay.
We had fun if you were here with us. I guess maybe you had fun or maybe you suffered. Either way, seems like Chloe's at least entertained.
Yes.
She put you on the big TV so she can hear you
Oh no.
laughing by yourself.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. What a day to be alive. Okay. So we're just gonna, nothing's really worked out. So we're just going to,
Let's pray.
is it Ty's birthday? Because I texted him and if it's not, then that's weird. I
Is
don't,
it your birthday?
it's not my birthday.
Oh, good.
It is coming up. So yeah, not my birthday yet, but it is coming. I won't tell you when. It's a mystery. No one knows.
Cheater.
No one knows when my
So the
birthday is.
29th.
Ooh.
29!
It's a myth. The 29th doesn't exist. There is no 29th of May. There is a 28th and then a 30th. It's kind of like Wayside Stories at Wayside School. Don't know if anyone got that reference.
Don't you want
but there
fun
is.
presents?
Fun presents? No.
Okay.
No, okay. Let's refocus now. Here we are.
Focusing.
Here we are. Here we are. We're going to just focus on Gideon. Again, I'll put a timestamp to this part if you want to skip the insanity. So if you're here just joining us because you want to skip all the madness, the episode before this all just didn't. It was
Chloe's
just
still
crazy.
out there, so
Chloe's
she's
still here.
Got it all.
Chloe's seen it all. I don't know if anyone else has, but thank you for enduring to this point.
Yes.
We're just going to focus in and talk about Gideon for a
You're
bit.
a
And I'll try to
stronger
keep it
person.
short because it's already 6:45. We've goofed and gaffed enough. We've stared awkwardly into space. We've bupped. We've talked about Smash Bros. I mean, it's been great. So
Yes.
let's focus in and talk about Gideon now. So, starting off, let's just start off the top of Gideon's story with that he was a bit of a coward. He was also a bit of a skeptic. We're calling him Gabby Gideon because he had a bad habit of being all talk and no action. He just talked, but it never really amounted to anything. Yeah, and so it kind of gets him into some trouble later on in life. And so we're going to unpackage his story and get into everything about him and all that. So
Okay.
before we talk about Gideon, though, real quick, Jordan, I'd like you to share your little story about.
Do we have time?
Yeah, just real quick. Your story's not long.
So, what is the basis of the story?
So-
have you said that part?
So the basis of what we're talking about today is all talk and no action.
Right.
Like where you talk and you talk and you talk about something, but you never follow through.
Right. So, my story happens to do with story is I wanted to play the harmonica. I wanted to be, not the best harmonica player, but I wanted to be a good harmonica player, like, play a harmonica around the campfire or play it out while you're fishing, that'd be kind of cool. I bought these really cool harmonicas, and I was like, okay, I got them. I'm going to play, watch YouTube videos, and now they're gathering dust.
Nice on.
I talked great big. I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be, a good harmonica player, and yeah, it didn't work out. Not at all. And so that is my story of how.
Chloe says she loves raisins.
Who
There's
doesn't?
There's a lot of times in my life I've complained about things, and I've talked a lot about how I feel like I don't like the way something is done. But the problem with that is, what good is complaining about something if you're not going to do anything about it?
Right.
And I think one way I just in general, like, I don't even need a specific story because I literally complained last week, much to everyone's detriment. I just complain about things and never do anything. That's a lot of talk, and it just doesn't mean anything. If all you ever do is complain about things or whine about things or rant about things, it doesn't do any good. You're just talking. It's just noise you're hearing. Mm-hmm. You're just making a lot of noise. And Gideon was this kind of person.
Right.
Gideon had a bad habit. He did both, actually. Gideon went to both sides of that fence of where he talked about doing something, he never did it, and there was another time where he just complained a lot but never actually did anything to help the problem. Mm-hmm. So let's jump into Gideon's story. Gideon's story starts in Judges. I believe it starts in chapter 6, Judges chapter 6. And what's happening in the stories of Judges is that Israel is now a nation. They're a small, humble, just starting off nation. They don't have much. They're kind of very loosely put together. They don't have a ruler. They don't have a monarch. They don't have a king. Mm-hmm. No, their leader is God. That's the way Israel is designed to be. Their leader is God, and that's how it's meant to be. But Israel has a bit of a problem, and that's that they don't like what God has planned for them. They don't want to follow God. They don't want to listen to God. They want to do their own thing. Well, since God's their leader, and they don't want to follow Him, He just kind of, every time they reject God, God says, okay, I'll just let you be the nation you want to be. And you can guess what happened here anymore? Other nations just swoop in and eat them alive. Not literally, but they're killing all they get attacked. Huge wars happen. It's brutal. Judges is a harsh book to read through. There's a lot of bloody battles, bloody situations. It's a rough book. And it's all about how Israel just keeps running away from God. Like, God will do something amazing for them, they'll reject Him. God will do something amazing for them, and they'll be like, yay, and then they'll reject Him. It's kind of like we just talked about with Moses.
Yeah, I was ready to say, it's the same thing they went with.
Even though this is over the course of hundreds of years, it's still the same thing happening. Even though they're different people, they have the same attitude as their parents before them, which could be a bit of a warning sign to all of us. Mm-hmm. What people have done before us we can tend to inherit their attitudes and their tendencies. Yeah. And we just got to watch out for that. A lot of times we think like, oh, I won't do what that mistake my parents made. Even if our parents are okay now and they've come to terms, I will say, well, I won't make that same mistake. We got to be more aware of ourselves. Be like,
exactly.
You're more like your parents than you want to admit. Mm-hmm. It's just a truth. And Israel dealt with this constantly, where they just kept going through this repeated cycle of rejecting God. Well, anyways, they're in the midst of, they've rejected God. They've gone after idol worship, so they're worshiping all these weird, creepy gods, and they've become really perverted and messed up. And so God hands them over to a country called the Midianites, and Israel's basically laid siege. Like, they're trapped within their towns, they can't go anywhere, and the Midianites are just burning all their crops, stealing all their stuff, and just tormenting them. Finally cries out and says, God does love His people, even though they reject Him constantly. And so God calls out to a guy named Gideon. And Gideon, we immediately get a picture of who Gideon is, because it says that he is pressing wheat in a wine press because he's hiding it. So what this is saying is that he's doing something he's not supposed to do in a wine press, right? You don't work with wheat in a wine press. he's trying to disguise what he's doing because he doesn't want to be caught. He's afraid the Midianites will catch him and kill him. So we already get a picture that Gideon's a bit of a coward. He's a bit of a guy that wants to play things a little safe. He's a little hesitant. And God shows up to him and says the strangest thing. He says, "Hey, mighty man of valor." And Gideon's like, "Me? Me? You talking about me? I'm a mighty man of valor?" And God's like, "Yes, you're a mighty man of valor, and I want to do great things through you." And then Gideon immediately starts saying like, well, look at all these, like, our forefathers told us that you did all these great things for our country of Israel, but where are you now? Huh? Like, look at how bad things are now, and look what's happening. Gideon immediately just starts complaining and basically attacking God. And God just tells him, well, guess what? I don't have it up there because I forgot to, because it's one of those days.
Yeah, right.
I'll go ahead and pull this passage up. But God then just responds to Gideon very, very graciously, I must say. He's not, this whole conversation, Gideon's just kind of giving God a hard time. He's rejecting God. He's kind of fighting back against God. But God is just patient with him. God is merciful towards him, and God puts up with Gideon.
Yeah.
So Judges chapter 6, I'm going to read, let's go down to verse, sorry. Okay, in verse 14, so Gideon complains about all that's happening, saying like, why isn't this being fixed, God? And God immediately responds to him saying, and the Lord turned to him and said, go in this might of yours. Notice that key phrase. He says, this might of yours. And save Israel from the hand of Midian. Do not I send you? And he said to him, Gideon responds to God, Israel, behold, my clan is the weakest. So Gideon starts complaining, and God says, okay, you, and I'll make sure this gets fixed. And then Gideon goes, but I'm the weak. He immediately backpedals. Do you see what's happening here? He puts on this big front, being like, oh, God, where were you? What, look at all this stuff going on. What's going on here? And then God says, all right, because you're so great, I'll go with you, and we'll fix this. And he's like, oh, but I'm the weakest in my... Gideon's a coward.
Yes.
And he's also a big blowhard. He talks a lot, but he doesn't follow through. Well, let's just kind of fast forward through things. God convinces Gideon to go through with it, to be a leader of armies and lead them against the Midianites, attack the Midianites. He convinces Gideon to go to war. Like, God shows a miracle before Gideon, and Gideon's like, oh, it really is you. And then he does another miracle for Gideon. Two more, actually. Two more miracles. I don't know. We won't go into all the descriptions.
Oh, hey.
I'll take a while. God works 3 miracles in a row to convince Gideon that first, he's God, and Gideon is called to do this. And Gideon's like, okay, fine. So Gideon, reluctantly, basically, he's very reluctant throughout the whole thing. He keeps questioning God. He's very skeptic. He's skeptical and a coward. And it eventually leads to...
all the good things.
All the good things. Gideon eventually summons together the armies of Israel, and he gathers about 32,000 men. So 32,000 men are gathered for war. And this may sound like an impressive number until you read the description of the Midianite army. It says their camels were as countless as the sands of the shore.
Oof.
That doesn't include the actual soldiers. It's saying just the of It doesn't say the comparison of how many men there are to camels.
Right.
You got to assume there's at least one man for every camel.
Right.
This is a big army.
Yeah.
This is huge. It's countless. It's basically what it's. It's this immense army of people, and 32,000 is not impressive.
Imagine just seeing a sea of camels.
That sounds terrifying.
Think of the noise.
Think of the noise. Sounds terrifying. So Gideon is not exactly, I don't think he's exactly comfortable with this situation. He's still nervous, but then God makes him more nervous. God speaks to Gideon after he gathers his 32,000 men, and he has his army ready, and God says to him, Gideon, Israel's arrogant. And I don't want them to think they won this battle because they don't stand a chance on their own. I'm going to help you guys out. But 32,000, they're going to think they did it. It's enough for them to at least think they did it, so I want less. You need to thin down your army. So what I wanted to do, Gideon, is talk to all your men and say, hey, if you're scared, go home. So Gideon stands before 32,000 men and says, okay, if you're scared, go home. 22,000 of them leave immediately. Ooh. 2/3 of his army are gone. He's left with 10,000 men. And God says, still too many. That's still not enough. And so then he tells Gideon the craziest thing. He says, I want to take those 10,000 men to the river and just tell them to drink water. Just tell them to drink water. And here's what I want you to do, Gideon. I want you to pay close attention to how they drink water. If they drink water with their hands like this, like cup it into their mouth or scoop it up with anything or, like a sane person would do, you don't want them. I don't want the ones that lean down like this and lap it like a dog.
Lap like a dog.
I want the ones that lap it like a dog. Out of 10,000 men, only 300 lap water like a dog. So now Gideon has an army of 300 men.
300 crazy men.
300 crazy men who are weird.
Yes.
300 crazy, weird men. That's all he has. And then God gives him the craziest battle strategy. He's going to go into this camp, have this 300 men surround the whole Midianite camp on this mountaintop, because it's kind of like a ridge around them, and then just smash jars on the ground and light torches and blow trumpets. That's what he's going to have them do. But before we get to that, God is just so merciful. He's so merciful. Because even now Gideon's like thinking about backing out. Yeah. So God tells Gideon, like, okay, I can tell you're still scared. So here's what I want you to do. Take your one of your friends there, one of your soldiers, and go down into the camp, and I just want you to listen. You're going to hear something that'll make you feel better. And so Gideon goes down to the camp with his soldier. He goes down in there, and he eavesdrops on this conversation. And these two guys are just talking. One's sharing about a dream he had, and I just kind of imagine it was something like this. Or he's just like, hey Lloyd, I don't know why I went with Lloyd. That's not a very biblical name, but whatever. Hey, Lloyd, dude, I had the craziest dream last night. We were just in our camp here, and this giant loaf of bread rolled down the hill and crushed everybody. It was pretty wild, man. And then Lloyd just nods his head. And he says the most logical response you could say to a dream like that. He says, oh, this is a sign that the armies of Gideon are going to rally together and they're going to come in and destroy us all.
As you do.
Clearly.
Yeah. Well.
If I heard someone describe bread rolling down a hill, that would be my last response. It meant something that we didn't hear.
Yes.
Because logically responds to a dream like that. You're not just like, oh yeah, that bread rolling down the hill is a clear sign that we're all going to die. This man named Gideon, who I've never even heard of before, who's a nobody, is going to come and kill us all. No, God clearly spoke through this. And it says Gideon's immediate response is he worships God because he really, you're right, this is silly. Like, who would respond that way? Right. He takes it as a sign from God, and he's just like, okay, God, you've confirmed it, I'll do it. So they go through with the plan. They go up on the hill. They break the jars. They light the torches. They blow the trumpets, and they shout, "For the sword of the Lord and of Gideon," or something to that effect. And immediately, God just throws this huge, massive army into a frenzy. They just panic at the sound, and they are so panicked they start killing each other. And the massacre is so big that the 300 men are able to rush in and clean up what's left, and they just wipe out everybody. This countless army falls to 300 men. Pretty impressive. God wins the day. He is the ultimate victor. And what do you think Gideon does at the end of all this? Well, in chapter 8, Judges chapter 8, we read that all the people, the nation of Israel gathers around Gideon. They're like, we want you to be our king, man. You and your son. You be the king, and then your son can follow in after you, and it'll just be great. It'll be wonderful. And Gideon actually gives the right response. Gideon says to him, no. That's actually, I actually wanted to read that. Let me jump there real quick. Judges chapter 8. Skipping down a bit. Where are we? Come on. Okay. Gideon responds to these people who are saying, be our king, be our ruler, rule over us. Gideon says to them in Judges chapter 8, verse 23, I will not rule over you, and my son will not rule over you. The Lord will rule over you. Good response, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what Israel was supposed to be. God was supposed to be their leader and their ruler. But then something suddenly happens immediately after this. Gideon goes, he says, let me make a request of you. Every one of you give me the earrings from the spoil, because they're made of gold. And I'm going to melt these down and make them into a beautiful tunic that makes me basically look like a king. He does this. And it says, everyone, if you want me to read the exact words, it says, all of Israel whored after it, after this tunic he made. Weird wording, but it's very intense. It means basically everyone worshipped Gideon. Yeah. So Gideon may have not have been officially a king, but he sure acted like one. Because it notes that this ephod, that's the name of the cloak, this cloak that's made out of gold, it's like a tunic. He says, it became a snare to Gideon and his family. So basically it doomed him. What? I think it's pronounced ephod. I don't know. Maybe it is ephod. But either way,
I could be wrong.
so Gideon says the right thing, right? But he debates himself.
By putting a butt on there.
When he suddenly says, actions totally counteract what he just said.
Yes.
He may have said, the Lord will rule over you, but he acts like a ruler anyways.
Yep.
So, after this, here's what it says shortly thereafter. It says, time passes, everyone turns away from God again immediately after this. Even though God won them this great victory, and even though he set them free from this country, they turn away from God, they reject God, and as soon as Gideon passes away, it says everyone forgot he ever existed.
Just into time.
Into time. So, let's get into this. What was Gideon's dilemma? Gideon's dilemma is that he was arrogant. He was an arrogant man that masked it with being humble. And this is something we all struggle with in one way or another. We all struggle with pride and being arrogant. We just do. Now, when I say the word arrogant, you think it means someone who's like really cocky, really confident in themselves. That's not what arrogance is. Arrogance is this idea that you're at the center of the universe. And sometimes that takes the form of just self-deprecating yourself all the time. So like when I was in high school, I would constantly say horrible things about myself because I thought that was a way to be humble. I thought I genuinely believe like if I'm just hard on myself, I'll stay humble. But I know suddenly God spoke to me one day and pointed out, you're so obsessed with being hard on yourself and thinking and worrying about what other people think about you that you don't actually listen to a word anybody says. You don't care what they have to say. You don't care about them. You are a very arrogant and selfish person. I felt God genuinely spoke that to me. And I realized like, you're right. And it suddenly like reality, I suddenly saw reality and saw that like I was so obsessed with being hard on myself that actually the truth was I was actually just trying to protect myself. I was very self-centered and I didn't care about other people. All I cared about was what they thought about me. Arrogance takes a lot of forms, and we all battle with it in one form. It just looks different for each of us, and that's the tricky part. The way your arrogance looks is different than my arrogance. We all struggle with it. It's a natural human thing. And one of the ways arrogance hides itself so that we don't feel like we're arrogant is that it comes across as being humble. Think about when God first speaks to Gideon. Gideon says, well, I'm the least of my tribe. I'm the least of my people. See, it sounds humble, but he's using it as an excuse. God challenges him and says, well, if you're so great, why don't you step up? I'll empower you and we'll do this. He's like, wait. I'm actually the least of my people.
Yeah.
I'm a nobody.
Not me.
He's doing it to cover up the fact that he was arrogant earlier and talking to God face to face and saying, where were you when we needed your help? He then backs up and tries to cover it up because he's a coward.
Right.
Arrogance will always lead to cowardice. It will always lead to that. So that's when we come to the decision. that he makes. Gideon's decision that he constantly makes is to do what's best for him. Do what's best for Gideon. In the first instance, when God confronts him and says, okay, if you think you can do better than me, I'll make it possible. I'll go right behind you and with all your might and your valor, and we'll do a great thing. And then Gideon says, oh, wait. So he immediately backs up. And then in the end, Gideon says something that sounds good because it's the right thing to say. But what do his actions show? He doesn't really mean it. Right?
Yep.
He's all talk.
I want a gold coat. Yay!
Yeah. He's like, God will rule over you. But if you want to.
Yeah.
Gideon always...
An option, not an option.
Gideon's cowardice and his arrogance all revolved around the fact he was very self-centered.
Yeah.
And so this then leads to, now I'm drawing a blank. Sorry. I know. It's a struggling night, but what this all leads around to is the struggle we face and the problem that we deal with is that our arrogance, we want things our way. We want things our way, and we try. There's so many ways we mask this. There's so many ways we try to hide the fact that we're arrogant, the way that we try to cover up what's going on in our heart. Because the fact is, no one, here's what I wanted to get around to, and I forgot what I was going to say.
Coming back around.
Nobody wants to really face themselves. The worst thing you can do, well, you are.
Right.
Because no one wants, like, we'll say things like, oh, I'm a failure. Oh, I'm annoying. But we don't really believe that. Deep down, we actually want attention. That's why we say things like that. We want someone to pat us on the back. We want someone to comfort us. Or we want to use it to manipulate people or get people to, I speak from experience. I would say things like that so I could get someone to be like, oh, Ty, it's okay. It's not, they're there.
Yeah.
You're trying to get a response. When we say things like that, it's because we want something. It's not when they feel that way. Deep down, there's something within you that also wants something more in response. It's no one really wants to face how ugly we really are. Because the fact is, we're all sinners. We're all a broken mess. We all struggle with arrogance and pride and being self-centered. And no one wants to face that. I mean, really, though. Do you really want to admit just how rotten of a person you are?
Nope.
No one wants to be the bad guy. Look at how, I don't know how well accustomed you are with history, but just look throughout history, how many people who were horrible, if you always want to draw, like, just the common denominator of evil, you could draw out someone like Hitler or Stalin or one of those people, and you can be like, yeah, look how evil they were. But they never would admit to being evil. They would always come up with some excuse for why they did what they did. Hitler was like, well, it's evolution. It's the right thing to do because this is what humanity needs. This is for the betterment of humanity. He found a way to somehow, within himself, make himself feel good about what he was doing, even though it was one of the worst things ever. Stalin, the same thing.
I think it was the mustaches.
It was the mustaches. They make you evil. You need the beard to help.
Yeah, the beard.
The beard balances things out.
The beard balances.
It's imbalance.
It's been developed right.
Yes. So, but no one wants to be the bad guy, really.
Yes.
You say you want, because there are some people that are like, I want to be the bad guy. But there's no one really wants to. In truth, no one really wants to be considered atrocious. No one really wants to be. It's against our nature. And so why then do we debate ourselves? Why do we do this? Because coming around to our series, which I guess I did forget to introduce again in case someone's here that hasn't heard yet, but our series is based off a meme about trolling.
Yes.
Like, the term I debated myself means I trolled myself. And we're talking about, like, when we do things that just hurt us. Like, you make a mistake, you make a decision, you do something in your life that just comes back to bite you later or quickly. Why do we do these things to ourselves? Why do we make these poor decisions? Why did Gideon mess up his life? Well, the ultimate reason is because we're self-centered. We're self-focused. We look for ways to build ourselves up. Gideon was all about himself. He was about protecting himself, and he wanted to look good. He could talk a big game, but at the end. It's
I'm
when
just
you...
going to say caviar from now on.
Wow. You said it, Owen Wilson.
Well.
When you do that,
I said
it
but.
totally undermines everything you just said before,
Right.
and it makes it meaningless. However, if you just followed through with what Gideon said, if he followed through with what he said, God would have continued to work in his life.
Mm-hmm.
God would have continued to work in Israel. Great things could have happened, but because it was an empty statement, it meant nothing.
Yes.
The fact is, you need to make God Lord over your life. Yourself, what you want second, and God first.
Mm-hmm.
The more we focus on God, the less we become about ourselves. It's a nice thought to be considerate towards others and put others first. But we can't do that. We're not capable of doing it. If you try to put others first, you will fail. Mm-hmm. It'll always be about what you can get out of it. Why am I not being thanked for this? Why have I not received gratitude? However, if you put God first, He'll start to change your heart. The Holy Spirit will start to change the way you see things. God's Spirit will begin to move in your life, and Jesus will start to change the way you see people so that then you can love them. Then you can put others first. Then you can care for others first. If you start with just putting others first, it'll always turn into selfishness at the end. You'll either think you're better than them, think you're better than other people. It'll be turned into pride, or you'll get bitter because you're not should be thanked, or getting the appreciation or love that you think you deserve. He starts to change us within. It's not a shallow change. It's not like Gideon where he just did something because he had to do it. Gideon never had a true heart change. Gideon was always Gideon. He was always Gabby Gideon. He could talk a big game, but there was no substance within him. Guys, if we don't have Jesus moving within us, we don't have substance. We're empty. In fact, the ultimate result of sin is that it empties us. It tears us apart. It leaves us unholy. Because I've talked about before, but the word holy literally means to be whole, to be complete.
Right.
Sin makes us unholy, which means there's holes in us. Like we're punctured, we're torn apart. We're Swiss cheese. We're incomplete. We're not full. Jesus fills us up. Jesus makes us complete. Jesus restores us. He makes us who we're meant to be. He perfects us. He fills in those holes. He restores what was broken, what was damaged. And Gideon never got that. So what we can learn from Gideon is that if we focus on always...
But did he want it?
I don't think he did.
Did he ever want it?
It sounds like he didn't.
Yeah.
Gideon was always out for himself. Gideon was always out for himself. Gideon was always playing the big game. So my warning to you, if you're focused on always trying to make yourself look good, say the right thing, say the things that put a smile on people's faces for a moment or make them nod and be like, yeah. And that's all you can think about, or all you can think about is maybe just putting on a big game and looking like, yeah, I'm tough, I got it put together. I could say this, and you know what, people respect me. Even if they disagree with me, they'll be like, yeah. But, both of those, they will lead to you being empty. Because they're shallow. They're shallow and surface level.
Right.
Just like what Gideon did. And it will lead to you not having any substance. And then when the time comes, you're going to fall apart. And you're going to just prove to be empty.
Yep.
If you're empty, no matter how much you dress it up, Zach, toss me that Coke bottle there. I'll try.
Word.
This Coke bottle is empty. I can make it look like the prettiest Coke bottle in the world, and yeah, it'll look good, but it'll still not have Coke in it unless you fill it up again.
Yes.
You can make this look as good as you want, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't have Coke in it, because like Zach will testify, what good is an empty Coke bottle besides maybe it looks nice? There's nothing like having a nice full Coke bottle so you can drink it and enjoy it. Now, I don't really like Coke that much, but I'm just drawing the picture. I'm drawing the illustration.
Stuck with that.
I'm drawing the illustration. This is the illustration here.
It's good.
You need to be filled up. If you're not filled up, you're empty. And no matter how much you dress it up, it's still empty. And we need Jesus to fill us. So that's what we can learn from Gideon. That's our lesson from Gideon. It's a harsh lesson, and it's sad that he didn't get it. But we can learn from his mistake. We can learn from his failure and see that there is a better way, because we do know stories in the Bible of people who overcame their arrogance, who overcame their cowardice, who overcame their failures. And it's all through the power of Jesus. It's through the power of the Holy Spirit. It's through God that we are made whole, where we're made complete. So my encouragement with you is to, I know it's not comfortable, but take a minute and introspect and think like, do I always just try to make myself look good? Thank you. Thank you, Chloe. But take a moment and think to yourself, like, am I just trying to say the right things to appease people? If so, that's a warning that maybe we need to be filled up. I don't
Hands over your head.
I don't want to say all these things to discourage you or make you frustrated. I say these things for you to take a moment and be like, maybe, you know what, I need more Jesus. I need more. I'm not getting enough of him because I'm empty. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. It's actually a good thing to realize that you're empty. It's better to realize that you're empty than pretend to be full when you're not. That's the fact. The fact is, without Jesus, we're empty, and we might as well be aware of it. Take a moment of introspection, take a moment of prayer, and seek God. Even if it's just for a moment, just like, God, I want to put you first in my life. I want to honor life. I don't want to be empty. I don't want to just be words. I don't want to be shallow. Mm-hmm. I don't want everything I say to just be surface level. I want to be a person of substance. I know it's what my family needs. I know it's what my friends need. I know it's what my school needs. I know it's what I need. Mm-hmm. And I believe God will meet you there, and he'll speak into your life. He wants to fill you up. He wants to give you more of his presence, and I know he wants to move in your life, and he has great things in store for you. He doesn't want you to miss out. He's not out to destroy you or get you. I mean, just look at the story of Gideon, how patient guy who never wanted anything. But God still worked in his life, and God still gave him an opportunity. God is giving us an opportunity. He's not out to get you. He's out to enrich your life and fulfill your life. We just need to learn to shift our attention more towards him and less off ourselves. So can I just pray with you real quick? Lord, we thank you for these moments we've had to share, from the goofy and ridiculous and embarrassing to we get to study your word and sharing who you are and talk about who you are, Jesus. And I just thank you so much, Jesus, that you do change us, that you do make us whole, you make us complete. And Lord, I just pray that we would all learn from this story and be encouraged to seek you more and genuinely and more authentically, and really pursue after you, God, because you have so much more for all these young people. You care so much for them. You are for them. You're not against them. You love them so much. And I just ask, God, that you move in their lives in a powerful way, and that you just minister to each of them, Lord. And I thank you so much for this. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pray you guys have a good week. Thank you for coming or listening if you weren't able to be live with us. Thank you, Chloe, for putting up with all the garbage all the way through. If anyone else put up with the garbage all the way through, I can't see everything. But if you did,